The two Amazon procurement nerds are back. And when I say Amazon, I mean we're both over 6 feet tall. One of my best friends is also 6 feet tall. And we used to joke when we would go out together, people would call us the Amazon women because we're so tall. So we are recording on Sunday. And Dr. Elouise, we have kind of a different topic for today. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This is so just to set the stage. We're coming right to the end of conference season. I'm off to Chicago tomorrow for the Connect House event, and then I am done for the year. DUN done, and so there's a lot that goes on at conferences and traveling, and oftentimes we don't get to talk about it. And so today I want today's episode is behind the photograph. And what I don't want to talk about the individual conferences themselves, because I think we did that last year, and everybody's posted on LinkedIn about all the various conferences. I thought it would be fun to talk about the pictures that we take and the stories behind the pictures that happen in and around the conferences. So not about anything about the conferences, but what's going on in and around. And there's some funny stories. And again, last year, I parenthetically just told the story of tripping and falling and tearing up the skin on my knee. And so oftentimes we just don't get to tell these stories. And so I just have to say it's kind of like I got to give credit to Nickelback, because I keep having the song Photograph in my head, like, look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh, and so I just have this in my head. So, and the other thing is as an observer, so I've watched Sarah go to all these conferences. By the way, Sarah, we're not going to talk about the conferences, but I really am totally fascinated with that data center conference you go to. I feel like I need to go.
I have a story or two from the data center conference that I just went to that I will definitely highlight. It is a really cool, interesting community and something that is very new to me.
I'm obsessed and I keep thinking about it. So maybe they'll hire me to come speak and give a talk about. Anyway, I got us totally off track. But the other thing about this episode is I saw pictures that Sarah was tagged in, or other folks, that in and around. And I want to ask Sarah about some of the things that I saw looking as an observer. So this is really about our experiences outside of the conferences, but all of this conference travel. So Sarah, I'll toss it to you and you can start.
All right. So this is going to be kind of a random mismatch. I don't know if I'm going to be exactly in chronological order. So
yes, mine is going to be wildly random and all over the place.
But in preparing for this, I actually went through my phone. I don't do the best job of creating albums, which is something I'm going to work on. I just kind of take photos and they could be a little bit more organized. So I went through and looked at my photos from this year to kind of help prepare and put some stories together. So first story that I want to share behind the photos, behind the pictures, is my partner, Paul, turned 60 this year. And we did Vegas for a birthday weekend for him and one of my best friends, Michaela, and her partner. But that was just like a mini weekend trip. And so I committed that we would do a much bigger trip. I think it's a big milestone, and that I would not open my computer once I got off the plane getting there, and I would not reopen my computer until I got back on the plane. So I do want to say I followed through on my promise. First time ever that I've done that. I was very committed to doing it for what were we gone? It was like 8 days, I think, 2 weekends and then a holiday week. And the reason why I wanted to share this story is the power of building meaningful relationships in whatever industry it is that you work in. So we were leaving on a Saturday, and as we're packing and waiting for the Uber to come get us to take us to SFO, I found out from a text message from someone else working in procurement that Lawrence Kane, who runs procurement for Transamerica, was at Boeing for most of his career, who I've known for many, many, many years through our involvement in SIG, or the Sourcing Industry Group. And someone's asked what we were doing for Paul's birthday. I said, oh, we're actually, heading out for Hawaii. We were going to Maui first, and then Oahu. And they said, wow, Lawrence and his wife are also going. And what are the odds, right? That timing and islands and whatever. So I randomly text Lawrence, and him and his wife were going to be in Oahu the exact same days as us. So I said, do you have any interest in meeting up? I understand people go on vacation and the last thing they want to do is have to talk to somebody from that they know through work. And he said, we would love to. So we set up a evening, our first full night on the island, and their flight was delayed like 12 hours. They didn't get in till like 3:45 in the morning. And so I did not think, right, we were going to meet up. And they said, no, we still want to. It was so wonderful to go to a strange place and have someone that I know so well and be able to spend an evening with him and his wife, no one has ever met before. She is not She's absolutely incredible and awesome and super funny, and we're friends now. And we had such a great time. We met up 2 more times on vacation with them. We did a boat tour, we did a festival, we did some happy hours, dinners. And so you'll see I posted photos of our time with Paul and I and Lawrence and Julie. And it goes to show what an incredible world we live in, where people through work, and then you are on vacation traveling, randomly run into people, and you want to spend time with them. So it just was one of my favorite stories of the year. Also, random side note, on Maui, we also ran into my cousin and her family, and we had no idea that both of us were going to be there. We went snorkeling, popped into a happy hour. I'm coming back from the restroom, and Sam and her husband and daughter randomly walk up to us. So 2 random run-ins on vacation, and just really, really cool.
I love that. I mean, the odds, like when those things happen, those random, like it hurts my brain because I try to like process what the odds would be, and I'm not a math person. It's just like, it's so wild. So
yeah, but it goes to the power of actually spending time to build meaningful relationships in whatever industry that you work in. Goes a long way, that our relationships go far beyond outside of work and our careers. And that was a testament to what a great time we had with people that, again, we know through work, and I would absolutely travel and do stuff with them again. So shout out to Lawrence and Julie.
Love that. All right. Well, I have, and I posted about this, but I think it bears repeating. I was flying to Amsterdam. No, I fly all over the world. I went to Sao Paulo, Australia, New Zealand, and I almost always 99% of the time, I travel alone because I'm just one person going over, doing my thing, and then coming back. And even to DPW, except for a few, like on the return flights, sometimes I've seen other people, but by and large, traveling, I travel solo, and that's the thing.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing. It gives you time to detox and prep and have your alone time.
And I tend to sleep on long haul flights anyway, and and then when I'm not doing that, I like to watch stuff. So I'm not complaining. It's just that's sort of my thing. But going to Amsterdam, increasingly as DPW's gotten more popular, and there's a lot of folks here in San Francisco, and there's only one direct flight at least on the United. So now we're starting to get more more folks on the same flight. So Stan and Alex were on my flight, the co-founders of Level Path, and I knew that in advance, and so I was actually kind of excited. And so we get on the plane, and
I
I'm
feel
like,
like this is a little dangerous. You guys need to split up and be on different flights. I don't love this.
well, yeah, well, and I didn't know this, but when I landed, Lalita and Sudhir, the co-founders of Oro, were also on the
I
flight.
saw your landing photo. You guys were all standing in the airport together.
I know, that was like, it was really like when I got off and saw them, and it was like, we had this whole, and then there were some other Level Path folks, and I think a couple of Oro folks. So it was really nice to have this contingent. I mean, it really felt great. But when I boarded, because I was in the lounge, and I'm usually slow getting to the plane, and I'm always running behind. And so I got on the plane, and I'm like, "Where are you guys?" And they're like, "We're here." And so after the plane boarded, but before we took off, I went and I went up to Stan and Alex, and just to say hi. We took a selfie. I think I posted that as well. And the flight attendant is like, like the flight attendants are like, get to your seat, like. So I was feeling pressure. So I turned to the flight attendant and I said, "These guys are celebrities, and so I'm just getting my picture taken."
You're the paparazzi.
Exactly. And like everybody starts looking at them, like around them, starts looking at them, like, who are they? So
everyone's on their phones trying to look up who Stan and Alex are.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the flight attendant was really, I think of all the things I could have said to him at that moment, I think that just completely caught him off guard. So I had a great, like, that just cracked me. I was laughing for the first hour of the flight, just like, I was totally bemused with myself for
like, so there were what, five or six procurement folks on the same flight, which is kind of
there was over 10. There was over 10 because Mari from Level Path, another person, and then Oro had two or three people. So procurement was showing up for that flight.
Yeah, contingent going on.
Exactly.
All right. So my next photo share is from my trip to Scottsdale. So I attended the Sourcing Industry Group conference first full week of October. And Heather Foch, who's one of my best friends, she also happens to be a women-owned business and entrepreneur in our industry. Her company is Quality Imaging Solutions. If you've attended an event and seen a lady wearing a crown and custom clothes made with crowns on them, that is probably her. She is nicknamed the Toner Queen, which I think is brilliant marketing and ties into our previous episode around guerrilla marketing, right?
And by the way, Heather is just an awesome person.
Yes.
If you have not met her, she will lighten your life, or you bring vibrancy when you meet her.
She makes toner sexy, which is hard to do.
Right. Because some of us hate printers. And so.
Yeah. So Heather is really into dogs. So Dr. Elouise, like you, I think you guys are probably two of the people that I know that are most obsessed with dogs.
Yes.
And she is part of the Italian Greyhound Rescue Foundation, which is a national group. She's involved in a few of their chapters and is like a chapter or leader. When they get dogs that need to be rescued, she gets notified and helps coordinate and manage and find a safe home for them. So Heather sponsored the very, very last activity to close out the conference, was actually making goodie bags for rescue dogs and their families.
Oh my God, I love that. Oh,
love that Heather stepped up to do that, because I think it is a really fun human thing to do and a nice way to close out a conference when you're kind of exhausted and tired of talking about procurement and procure talk. You're probably tired of networking and having to be around people. So I have several. I was the designated photographer for this like 2 or 3 hour activity. So I have tons and tons of photos. Heather's been posting several photos throughout the last couple weeks, so you may have seen. But the photo that stands out to me, which is why I wanted to share this, was the group of us did all the prep work ahead of time, and we had an assembly line in one of the hotel rooms to prep over 100 blankets.
Wow.
And I learned this is not my skill set. I am not the most crafty person, and this is probably not something that you ever want to ask me to do or support. But what Heather did is she bought fleece blankets, like the thin ones. Then someone in our assembly line matched them up. So there's 2 colors stacked. Then we had to fold and cut the corners and then make the lines for all the fringe. And then at the actual activity, people would tie them together. And so my blankets, let's just say, were not pretty looking. My lines were not real straight. It was on a little haywire. So during the actual activity, you would take a bag and then you would go fill it, and then you would sit down and make your blanket. So it was a whole process. And then you closed out with a handwritten note to the dog owner, which was kind of cool. So you got to write a cute little message. And my station was the doggy diaper station. So there's a photo of me and Laura and Heather holding up, and I'm not a dog person or an animal person. Keep this in mind. So me working this is kind of funny in itself. But there's a photo of us holding up all these diapers at the conference, and they're like really weird, random looking diapers. And it's because they're for dogs.
Yes.
So I thought I loved this idea. And then what they also did is one of the local ladies who helped us get the blankets prepared, and she was phenomenal, and her blankets looked amazing. So if you got one of her blankets, then you were lucky. But she actually brought a dog to the activity. So people got to actually meet a greyhound and spend a little bit of time with the dog as well. So highlight one of my favorite activities of the conference was that, and I love that idea, and I think it's a really good idea for other conferences to incorporate, is doing something that's kind of a give back but interactive, and something that is just takes your mind off things a little bit. So dog diaper photos are because of Heather's activity.
I love that in so many ways. By the way, putting a diaper on a dog is not as easy as one might think, or maybe it's
Well,
hard
and
as you might
I
think.
actually learned that's Sarah Scudder lingo. They're actually called belly bands. So I want to be very clear, but I called it the dog diaper station, but it was actually officially the belly band.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's, oh my God. You shouldn't have told me that Heather does Italian greyhounds. Like, I desperately want to adopt an Italian greyhound. So,
Well,
that-
if and when you guys are going to grow your family, which I feel like you guys are plenty big now.
yeah, we're at the seams.
You've got your contact.
Yes, that's yes, my hookup, my dealer hookup. All right. My next one is how I almost knocked the pregnant lady into the Amsterdam canals.
Interesting. I haven't heard this one.
Yeah, there was not a picture because I was embarrassed. Okay, so first of all, Upstream, and I love Moore and Leahy, the 2 co-founders. I'm a big fan of Upstream, and
I met them at Heather hosted a dinner before a ProcureCon event this year, which I didn't attend, but as I was in Vegas and had the pleasure of meeting her as well. And she's super cool and fun.
yeah, and it was funny because leading up to DPW, I got invitations for Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night for the canal tour. And on Tuesday night, it was Upstream that had the canal tour. And I'm not a big water person. I love the beach, but I don't like being out on the water, and because you get on a boat and you're like a captive for 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours. It's like, just like, no, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but because it was Leahy and Moore asking, I'm like, all right, fine, I'll do it. And it turned out to be absolutely a lovely time. All the people who attended, like I had great conversations with everybody. And of course it was dark and a little bit misty. And
So was this sponsored dinner?
it was a sponsored boat trip around the canals in the evening. There was dinner on board, but there was no way I was eating.
Okay, but a sponsored boat trip activity. Okay.
Yeah. By the way, just parenthetically, I'm calling it now. I am never, ever doing another boat trip again. I don't care how much I love the co-founders or founders or whoever. No more boat trips for Elouise. I am done.
Your stomach doesn't like you?
No, it was fine. Like I didn't get sick or anything, although that's happened to me in the past. But it was just like, no, I'm done. So we get to the end, and I hope I'm not betraying any confidence, but if you see pictures of Moore, she's legitimately pregnant, and so it's dark, it's wet, and the boat ride's over. We've docked, and uh, and so everybody's exiting the boat, and I was one of the last people because it was a little easier for me to just get off the boat last or in the last group. And so what you do is you kind of step out onto the aft of the boat. Look at me using nautical terms, but the back part of the boat. And so Moore was there, Leahy was there, and like one or two others were there. And it was just like kind of getting your sea legs before you like step off. But somehow we started talking because of course, like we're just like had this great event and we're talking, and all of a sudden I lost my footing, and so I went like stumbling back, and you can't see, but my arms spread out as I'm falling back and trying to find, and Moore was right next to me. And so like I ended up grabbing her, or I'm not even sure if I like grabbed her arm or hit her arm. And all I could think is, oh my God, I'm just about to push a pregnant lady into the Amsterdam canals. And had I done that,
both of you are women.
Oh yeah, exactly. Because I would have been like, had that happened, I would have been right in after her to like to atone for my sin.
So someone saved you both?
We were just far enough away from the edge so that she was able to steady herself, and I caught myself after sort of, I don't know exactly, maybe Moore will have to explain, or sorry, Leahy will have to explain what happened, because I was just like, I was seized with panic because it was like, I'm falling, and then, well, oh my God, I just knocked the pregnant lady over. So it was totally fine. It was, but I had this just like panic. And so then I walked back to the hotel, which is like a 20-minute walk, just like shaking my head the whole time. Like, oh my God.
And you're like, I'm done with boats.
Oh my God, I am so done with boats. So yeah, that was all is well that ends well. But oh my God, my anxiety was through the roof for that whole walk back.
So speaking of boats, when we were in Hawaii, one of the activities we did with Lawrence and his wife was you go out for an hour on a boat to see like the sunset, and they have like music, and to get on the boat, because it comes right up on the ocean, you have to take your shoes off. And the water comes up really quickly and goes back really quickly. And I was shocked that people did not fall over getting on and off the boat, because it's scary. Your shoes are off and you're going up the stairs with the water coming in and out very abruptly. So I get it. I didn't fall, but I was surprised though that especially some of the elderly folks, that were on there, that I was thinking like, if my grandma was here right now, she would have gone in the water.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and also this just gets to like, as I'm getting older, my body is not quite as spry as it once was. And I can appreciate like having, I mean, I lost my footing because I was uneasy on my feet, and I could see in that scenario, I would go into the water.
Yeah. All right. My next story does not involve boats at all. Water a little bit, but no boats. So you mentioned earlier about data center stuff. So there's a couple photos that I wanted to talk about as it relates to the 7x24 data center conference that I just attended. There was 3 on my team total that were there. We actually sponsored. It's a nonprofit organization that's been around for 30 something years. They do a couple major conferences, and then they have regional chapters. So for example, there's one here in the Bay Area, and I think they have something like 20 chapters that do activities. Well, but the goal is to bring education and awareness and build community for folks working in the data center space, which in the last couple of years, of course, because of AI, has absolutely exploded, and they've kind of seen skyrocketing growth within their organization. So the photo that really stands out to me is one of Amanda and myself. Amanda and I worked together, and one of the conference attendees named Brian, who we're now friends that I met, he was wearing one of our cat shirts.
Yes. I saw this picture as I was prepping for this episode. I almost flagged this picture to ask you about
The
it.
reason why I want to flag this is there is so much power in really paying attention to and thinking about what you wear to events.
Yes.
Especially when it's 3 or 4 days and people are going to be seeing you every day. If you can pick a color, a sign, a crown, something that represents your personal brand and or your company, it absolutely can and does make an impact. So for our company at Oomnitza, our main core color is red. So we do red everything for our booths. And then we do really high-end, next level, very soft, wrinkle-free red shirts for all of our events. And a couple things that I want to mention there. We do not put our logo on the front of the shirts.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think about everyone who goes to conferences is getting bombarded with swag, with logos of companies that they don't know. So they're not going to be wanting to use, at least I know I wouldn't want to be publicly using things for a company that I don't even know who they are, nor do I know that I trust or endorse them. So that's what people are getting bombarded with. So the fact that they can get a cool, fun, creative, interesting, whatever, fill in the blank shirt without a logo plastered on the front, I think is really, really important. And then we've leaned into this year cat and dog shirts. And whether you like it or not, a lot of people are pet lovers.
Yes.
And we have found that dogs and cats are kind of the two favorites. So we do cat shirts, we do dog shirts, and then we have a shirt where we have a dog and a cat. And we have so much fun with people coming up, telling us about their pet, telling us about why they like dogs better than cats or cats better than dogs, why they want the shirt or they want to give their shirt to their kid, which is incredible. Imagine if you're a parent and every time your kid wears a shirt, they're going to remember you and think of your company. So one of the most powerful things is word of mouth marketing, which is when other people are promoting your brand for you. And by doing these t-shirts, we get people wearing the t-shirts during the conference. So day 1 or day 2, somebody gets a shirt and they're actually wearing it to the conference, right? What better marketing? So Brian wearing our cat shirt just kind of made me think about the power of doing something like that at a conference. So data center conference in general, I won't go into a whole deep dive in this show, but I wanted to highlight that as an example of something that has been really powerful marketing for us and does not have to cost a lot of money to do that.
Yeah. The other thing I would say as somebody from watching from afar is when the images pop, the images of your shirts and your presence, your booth pop off of LinkedIn, because like Catherine, who works with you, and
Yeah.
I see your photos. I like, it's just like bang, there's the red. In your previous company, it
Was
was
green.
green.
Yep.
Yeah. And so it's just like, and then even in our like what we're doing here with Dual Source,
Yeah.
it's like pink. It's like bam, it hits you, and I think it's super powerful. And it just draws the eye in as somebody who's not even at that conference.
Yeah, and I'll also say, again, this may seem like a small, like ridiculous, who cares, but shoes matter as well. So
Yes.
we do red chucks. So everybody at our company, when you're at a conference, wears one of our t-shirts, and then we do the red shoes. Again, $60 for a pair of red chucks. And I can't tell you how many people come up and talk to us because of our shoes.
Yeah.
And wearing them every day for 3 or 4 days straight, by the end, people know you. Oh, you're the red chuck girl, or you guys are the red company. And we even had people who said, how do we get a pair of those?
Yeah.
And it's like anybody can go online and order a pair of red chucks, but it's because it's cool and different and stands out, and other people at the show aren't doing that.
Yeah, I think you had a picture from like a year ago where, and I only remember it because there was like 6 of you
Yeah,
all
that
in
was
red
at
shirts.
Cognac at a Jamf conference, and we
Yeah.
all had our matching shoes and shirts.
Yeah. That was, I saw that in your feed as I was prepping, and that was like very distinctive.
And
All right.
then
Well,
two
go. Yep.
other really random side note ideas that were in a couple of my photos from the data center conference. And I'm just sharing this as something that I thought was kind of creative ideas. One of the main sponsors, which was a company called ABB, who actually also has a red logo, but their booth wasn't red. Their activity at their booth, they were one of the big sponsors for the first night opening, was AI headshots. I thought it was really creative. So what they did was you would log on to the internet. They gave you the internet code because the conference didn't provide internet till the following day. You scanned a QR code, opened up an app that they partnered with a third party. You went through your phone, found 10 photos of yourself, uploaded them. You picked your 5 background images you want. And then you walked around the show, and then 15 minutes later, you had your 30 AI headshots pop up on your phone. And
That's
it
amazing.
was such a smart, engaging activity that didn't, again, have to cost a lot of money, was very memorable. Everyone was talking about it. People were sharing, oh, look at my headshot. Here's me as the preppy shot. Here's me as the biker babe. Here's me, corporate. And it was also using AI in a very innovative, creative, useful way. So I thought that was a really clever idea, shouting that out for other folks who are trying to figure out ways to engage at a conference. And then the other one, which we talked about in our last episode. So if you didn't listen to it, I would recommend listening to A Guerrilla Marketing. But Peter Kaza did the pizzas every night at the bar.
Yeah.
Great example of guerrilla marketing. I just wanted to call out that was also. So this conference, people really kind of did some cool, innovative things. And I think it goes to that it was a really fun, engaging, interesting group of people. And I wasn't expecting that for the data center space, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, that's so cool. I want to pick up on 2 things. The sweat, while these and this ties back to the guerrilla marketing, but I have a hoodie, a zip up hoodie from Amazon AWS reInvent from 2018. I think it was 2018 or 2019. That, it's AWS's big conference in Vegas, and I have this still to this day. I still have it to this day because it was a really well crafted hoodie, and it's like perfect. And I like all the time wear this hoodie, and it was also well made. And while it probably wasn't a $5 thing, it might have been, I don't know, wholesale, like $30 a pop. And they had tens of thousands of attendees. but I mean, every time I put it on, I think about AWS, and I'm out there like advertising AWS because this hoodie is amazing because it's thick, and it's held up over these years. So
Yeah, and it's the key is that you didn't throw it away.
oh
Right?
yeah, no,
If you're gonna
exactly.
just give out stuff that's gonna get in the trash, why do it at all?
Right. Yeah. Don't do that at all. Um, I want to pick up on the shoes because another behind the scenes, and there's a picture of me and Lolita and a couple of the Oro folks, I think it was, where we're all just like standing there in a line, and then we like put our feet up, and they're taking pictures of the shoes. And so I'm very messy, or I was very messy trying to get out the door to Amsterdam, and I
I
had
think you
washed.
texted me and said you forgot your shoes and you were gonna have to go shopping or
Yeah,
something.
this is exactly the
Oh, okay.
story because the anyway, it was just because I had washed my shoe. I have travel shoes and the fancy whatever the Pro Pet, I guess, and whatever the cool kids are wearing. So but one of them didn't dry, so I just anyway, it was just complete mess. And so I had to go buy shoes when I got over there. And like buying shoes, especially for me, that's bigger, and like it's a little bit like touch and go. I mean, it's hard to buy them here, much less in another country where while they speak English, everything's in Dutch. So it was like
Yeah.
I was really having a lot of anxiety. So I go to a couple stores, didn't find really what I was looking for. So then I ended up at this one store, and they had some really nice shoes, and I so I bought them, and they're trainers, they're white trainers, and that's kind of the thing. Everybody, especially at DBW, wears trainers, and or
Especially people are now wearing tennis shoes with skirts and dresses.
totally.
I can't do it. I just can't bring myself to it, but it's like a thing now.
Okay, so I have to admit, sidebar, there's a picture of me presenting my master class because on day whatever the Thursday I was done. I was done because I wore heels on the first day, and the second day because I wore the trainers to the thing, and then I'm like, you know what, I'm feeling good. I'm doing this, and so I had I had a dress on
Yeah.
and the whole
You're
and
you're part of the trend.
I apparently, and so I there is a great picture of like the photographer did an amazing job, caught me like this, and you can see my trainers on and in my dress, and I'm going to print that photo out anyway. But the fact that I had so I went and bought these shoes. Turns out, like, I don't know, 10 people came up and said, I love your shoes. I guess the brand is On or Okay. I'm not sure what the brand is.
I don't know
Uh,
their brand.
but apparently Roger Federer is involved with it. I still don't know, but people were coming up saying, I love those shoes. Those are great. And who would have known that I bought not only uh, I bought trendy shoes by accident.
Which is also really risky to wear shoes, brand new shoes to a conference that you're gonna be in for, like, 15 hours. I feel like I would have been too afraid and would have had to bring a thing of Band-Aids.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've had that problem before for sure. And the only other thing I would say about that, well, and and so I took these trainers, and so I was at the Zip conference 2 weeks ago, and I wore them over, and when I brought my heels with me, but when I got into the space, I just felt so good in the trainers. Again, wearing a dress, all done up. I'm like, I'm doing it in the trainer. I'm doing my presentation in the trainers. And I have to admit that it gave me a boost of like pizzazz. And I hit that stage and I'm like, let's go. And that's not my style. And so I think that's going to be my new uniform.
Okay. You'll have to send me a pic. I haven't seen your trainers.
Yes, I will. Yes, I'll send you. Yes.
Um, all right, I guess, wow, we're already, I'll do one more and then we'll have you close us out with one of your picture stories. So I feel like I'm a little sentimental in this episode. I'm going to do another kind of non-work one as well. So I'm a huge believer in networking and building community. It's something that I'm really, really passionate about. And I think it's important to have your people that that are there to love and support you no matter what happens. We all spend so much time working, but I think the people at the end of the day are what really, really matter. So that's something I've don't always prioritize as much as I should, but it is something that's always top of mind for me. So when I turned 40, I was living in Austin still when I worked for Source Day, and I rented a house on Lake Travis, and I went through the people that mattered most to me all in very different ways and said, I want to start a girls group for people who work in the procurement space or have in the past. So everybody was working or had worked in procurement and supply chain at one point. And I got everyone together for 5 days to come and celebrate my 40th birthday. But beyond it being a super fun trip and a great way to celebrate my birthday, what we did was we formed a group of ladies that now travel together every single year. So we do 1 to 2 girls trips every time. We pick a different destination, and we have this incredible friendship from folks within and outside the US that prioritize and make an effort. So the last set of photos are us on our Cabo trip, which was actually right after the data center conference. So I went from people overload for 5 days in San Antonio, learning as much as I could about data center and making new friends, and then going to a very, very on a trip with a very, very special group of people that what I call my forever friends. And what is so cool is that we all met through work, all working at different companies at some point, but that prioritize and go out of our way to make sure that we always make an effort to get on Zoom calls, do, check-in calls throughout the year, and then we plan something extra special. So that was kind of my closing out when I was going through my album from the year. My last set of photos were from Cabo, and I wanted to just highlight how important that is to me.
I love that. And I will close out with a similar. I was in Augsburg. I did a presentation,
which is where
out an hour outside of Munich in Germany. And my dear friend Carmen Earhart, the CPO there, invited me to come because I was in town for a client thing in Switzerland. And so I went to Augsburg first and did a whole thing for them, did my whole song and dance. And that was a lot of fun. And then I went into Zurich, and Zurich was fun too. I actually got to see my friend Fulden, and we spent an afternoon together traipsing around Zurich, and she's showing me all around. And most importantly, she showed me how the train system, because they have a really cool app, and the Swiss trains, like, they run on time, and they are it's amazing.
AKA, it's not like the BART in the Bay Area.
By the way, can I just say as a sidebar, when I went to the ZIP conference, I nearly got clobbered twice by bicyclists. One, when I got dropped off at the West Oakland station at BART, and I come around the corner, and some guy's riding his bike out of the station, which is a no-no. Absolutely almost clobbered me. So good thing I had my trainers on. And then sure enough, when I got to the city, somebody was walking a bike in front of me, and I'm just walking down like a couple yards behind. He just immediately turns and to put his bike away. Like, I had to stop, and he almost like put the bike right in front of me. It's like, dude, come on.
Biking in the Bay Area is actually, there's unfortunately been a fair amount of deaths. It's very, very dangerous, especially on the roads here. So I have not taken BART in several years, actually. I don't go to the city very much. But I just know when I have, it has not been the most efficient system.
Yeah. Yes. No. Yeah. Anyway, so I had a great time with Fulden and Carmen on that trip. And then Carmen actually attended DPW. And so if you've seen the Bears Verlage, I always mispronounce it, but it's the big venue where DPW has been. I don't think it's going to be there next year, but it's funny how you go to a place and you lock in and you go to that place. And I've been 4 years in a row, and there's just big, beautiful, what look like Gothic buildings. I'm sure that got the architecture wrong, but like these big buildings in and around right there in central Amsterdam. And again, another thing that I forgot to pack or didn't have time to pack was my hair dryer brush roller thing. And so Carmen, I told Carmen that as I was texting you, I was texting Carmen, and she's like, oh, we'll go to this place and get it. And turns out it was a department store, or I forget what they called it there, but here we call it a department store, like a Macy's. And it was the literal building right next to the Burrs where DBW is. I've walked by this building, I don't know, 100 times.
Because your head's down, focused on conference mode.
Exactly. And here is this massive, like department store. And I love shopping. So like, I had no idea this thing was there. I just walked right by it. And so anyway, to make a long story short, I had lunch with Carmen, and I said, hey, they have a restaurant at the top of the department store. Why don't we go there? And it was an amazing lunch that she and I had. And we took a picture because we hadn't taken a selfie yet. And we took a picture in the makeup area. And it was just such a, like, to be at the conference, but to step out and to like have this just wildly different experience.
That most people probably had no idea was there either.
I had no idea. I mean, like, and it was, then to me, that just encapsulated what makes conference season so fun. And it doesn't matter what conference you go to, is like, I would have never, to be able to have lunch with Carmen at the top of some department store in Amsterdam that I didn't even know existed. Like, these are things that I will hold on to, because it's especially that photo of just like, what a moment in time that so encapsulates my life at this, or, my career at this point in my life. And, when I'm old, and I'll probably look back at that and hopefully remember that, how fun that photo is as representative of all the things that I was doing at that point in my life.
And we'll close out on I call that a forever friend moment. That
yes,
you guys will be friends long past retirement.
I hope so.
Alrighty, that's the pod for the week. We will be back next Wednesday.